Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacciana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home. Today we are going to discuss and compare Zippo copper woven type wicks for petrol lighters, along with Imco wire lead wicks and the vintage old stock Ronson wicks with the wire inserted. I got a question from Jim G on Tuesday morning about this subject and the fact that there wasn't a similar video on YouTube. So I decided to go ahead and make this video, and also I've written an article that should be posted Wednesday morning along with this video, so check that out. So I've got these lined up here. I basically use the copper woven Zippo type wicks in any flip top insert type petrol lighter, simply because I want the ability to keep the wick where I want it without it moving around on me. And all you really need to get the wick down in there is just to kind of twist it up tight, have a good tight end on it, and it's going to fit down in there and you're good. Not much to wicking them, there's not much to pulling them up and trimming them. You need a good pair of scissors, something with a point, fairly sharp, because you got to get down there in close quarters. But these wicks are good for any kind of lighter. You can't go wrong. I don't use these really in anything but flip top type lighters that I can think of. But had a conversation in the comments of another YouTube video the other day with a viewer, Giovanni Abazia, who enlightened me as to his theories on the copper actually bringing down the temperature or being a better conductor of heat. And he claims that he uses these kind of wicks in all lighters, including Imco. So if this is the way you go, and if you can get this inserted into the chimney of your lighter, then go for it. They're great. They're great wicks. Great for just about any purpose. We also have the Imco wire lead wicks, which I talk about in the article. These that are available today, they seem to be much more tightly woven. I've had a couple of lighters where I didn't even need the wire, where I was able just to feed the wick straight down the chimney, no problem. I use these wicks a lot of times when I am employing the blind method of re-wicking, where I'm tying the thin wire to the end. If I don't have a Ronson wick available, or if I'm running low on them, then I'll use these. Like I said, it's very tightly woven. I don't think the wick is actually a different size. It's just that the way it's stretched out and it's stiff where the Imco Wicks that were available on eBay just a few years ago, they weren't stiff like that. They weren't as crisp, and they didn't feed quite so easily. They weren't glued quite so down so low, to such a low profile, to just fit straight down in there like that. If you enjoy watching videos about old Petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacciana, and other useful mechanisms, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video that you're watching. Tell your friends about the channel. Hit the share button. Send that link off in a text, email, post it on social media, however it is that you communicate with folks nowadays, and let them get a look at it for themselves. You can leave any comments or questions below the video. We would also appreciate it if you would follow and like us across all the social media platforms. That'll be Dependable Flame or DependableFlame.com, on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and of course eBay. So here's an old Ronson D-Light wick with the wire inserter, and this one is pretty stiff itself. Looks like it may be a little bigger than, like the diameter might be a little bit bigger around, but I don't think so. I think it's just because the Imco wick is been stiffened. It's been stretched a little and stiffened by something. Maybe part of the manufacturing process of it, I don't know. So whether there's any actual difference there, I don't know. They seem to work interchangeably to me, and I've never used the wire inserter. I've seen an illustration or two of how it's supposed to work. I'm not convinced that it will work. I don't know, maybe one of these days I'll get bored and try it. But since I figured out how to basically lasso the end of it, made that video a long time ago, how to replace the wick in any Petrol lighter. Since I figured out how to do that, there hasn't been any need to try to figure out the inserter. And for a long time, even I was with the old Imco Wicks that I was getting, I was just cutting the wire lead off of them and using that wire tie method, the blind method, in order to get that end down small enough to go down the chimney easy enough. But with these, as I said, they go right down. That's why, one reason why I don't think there's a difference between these, because the old Imco Wicks and the Ronson and the old Ronson wicks seem to me to be about the same. So to answer your questions, I don't believe there is an authoritative answer to which is better, which was the original question from Jim G, and I got that question from somebody else earlier this week. I don't think that there is necessarily a better one. I think that if you are like our friend Giovanni and you like those benefits of the copper wired wick, then use that. If you're being responsible in the way that you're wicking the lighter, you're not going to damage it. So you can always pull that wick out and put another wick in if you don't like it. And just for reference, with these new Imco wicks especially being so slender, They work great for these aluminum block type lighters or shorter lighter like this. For some of these other lighters, the lift arms, or maybe say a roller light or some taller lighters, then the wire method might work better for you, tying the wire on the end. And I'll attach that video right there. So tie the wire on. That method will work a little bit better if you're going to have to fish it out. If fishing it out may be a little bit more treacherous. In other words, if there are more obstacles in there or a longer distance between the chimney and the fuel hole that you're trying to pull that flint out of. So I hope that makes sense. Please leave any questions, comments below. I'd be glad to answer those. Check out the article and the accompanying videos. Until next time.